Welcome to the Rad Conversations podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Rad Conversations. This week we have Trisha Lewis with us, and she opens up about her extraordinary life. From being born breech with a collapsed lung to a childhood surrounded by shamans, healers, and Apache traditions. All that and more coming up on this episode of Rad Conversations. And remember, if you enjoy the show, please like, subscribe, and share. All right, let's dive into it. Welcome to the show, Trisha.
Thank you.
Could you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm Trisha Lewis. I was born and raised in San Antonio. I was an ex-military spouse of 15 years. We traveled everywhere. I got to soak in a lot of culture. We have 4 children. I have 4 children. 3 are up and out of the house, and I have 1 in high school and currently in the beautiful San Marcos.
Sounds like you've had an amazing life over the years, but where did it all start?
Where did it all start? That's a great question. Okay, so here we go. So I feel like it all started when I was born. So when I was born, I was breech. So I was born feet first. There was a lot of complications for my mom. I was 6 weeks early on top of that. My lungs had collapsed. They were worried about my heart. And if you know anything about anatomy, the lungs and the heart, they work together. So I had a lot of surgeries. I had a lot of hospital visits. To hear my mom talk about it, after the 6 weeks, they kind of sent me home with open wounds still from where all the IVs and everything had to go in. And she was nervous. She was scared. And in her fear, she visited a lot of curanderas and shamans and would take me to them. And I feel like being exposed to that at such a fragile age or stage in life, I remember having dreams and nightmares and waking up and I don't understand, why do I see this and why am I feeling this? But expressing that only made her do it more. And so yeah, my life was interesting. And I feel like she had me in a bubble because of that. So she feared me dying. She feared me living. She just wanted to protect me. Doctors wanted to do surgery and like exploratory surgery and let's do a baboon heart and let's do this. And I remember my mom telling me, if you can promise me that she's going to be this little girl, like I was running through the office and opening drawers, if she's going to be the same after the surgery, you can promise me that, then I'll let you. And he couldn't. So she's like, no. And I'm grateful that she did. My dad is more of the protocol and the follow instructions. I mean, he was in the military, so he kind of had that wiring to him. My mom was very no, very no.
And your mom found shamans around this area?
Yes, there's still shamans around this area.
In this area? Like
in
of
this
Texas?
area. Canyon Lake,
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
No, and there's a good one too in Colorado, really great one.
So your mom was always kind of into this, or did she get into this once she was having issues with you?
So I love that. Our history, our heritage is Lipan Apache. So if you know anything about the Lipan Apache, they were the largest tribe. They were the largest band of Indians, of Apaches. And they were the first to meet the European colonizers as they came, and then the Spanish colonizers as they came in, right? And so to preserve our lineage, we mixed and mingled with the Spanish, right? So we mixed and mingled with the Spanish, and then we just took on Mexican. We are Mexican. And that, again, that was out of fear, but that was to protect us and continue living. So the stories got passed down, who we are. Don't forget who we are. This is who we are. So I don't feel like it was something she was into because we've always known. So we've always had that medicine, that natural medicine side to us. So that's where she always went to.
And is she still doing that to this day?
Yes. And she has expanded. So she has expanded into energy work. She's a Reiki master. She does a lot of that. She does house cleansings. Her home is Zapata, Texas, which is border town Mexico. So that's really, she kind of keeps her roots there and she'll go back and forth and do work for people there.
Wow. So when you growing up, that you were in this environment the whole time. So this was always just kind of a everyday life for you. This wasn't like you had to live in the shadows. Now, did your mom
Well,
growing
we
up?
did live in the shadows. We were not allowed to talk about it. And that came from that fear. If you tell them who we are, you're going to be taken away or something's going to happen. So that fear was passed on generation to generation. But so was the knowing of who we are. And then I came and I said, hey, no, it's time to talk.
You finally had the permission to go ahead and express who you
Right.
were. So you had two near-death experiences early in life.
The first one was when I was born, when I was coming in. I had a lot of blood transfusions. I had a lot of hospital visits, doctor visits. And then the second one was in 2009 when I was delivering my last daughter. And that is part of the family lineage too with the women is dying at childbirth or losing their child or both of them.
And that's happened a lot over the years throughout your family.
Yes.
So you had four kids. Any hesitation there? Like I'm playing with fire right now. If I have another child, or maybe I shouldn't have any children.
There was a part of me, and I want to add that I had a bonus child. I want to claim her as mine. She passed on, but she was definitely mine. And so I want to say that what played in with me is that military, because that was very instilled in my mom. So that was like a limiting belief, right? So my thing was having children was don't have children in a military hospital. And so most of mine were civilian sector. I didn't have any fear surrounding that. Um, when I married my husband, I kind of married him. I already had three of my children, and I was like, I'm good. We don't need to have any more kids. Like, I'm not having a child in the military, but life. And I did get pregnant, and that's where that near death experience happened. And it was rightfully so. And on one hand, you can say, was it a premonition? Did I know this? Or did I manifest it out of fear? So who knows?
Or I don't know if you believe in pre-birth contracts, or maybe you just remembered that you made this contract before you came down here that you're going to have difficulties.
I believe that too, yeah. So I do go back to that. I had to have this experience. This experience shaped who I am today. Yeah.
I just go back to your mom and dad real quick. Your
Okay.
mom was into this whole thing, and she married a military guy. Was he on board this whole time, or was it kind of yin and yang growing up?
So let me tell you about, oh, mom and dad. I love you both, but here we go. My dad grew up in San Antonio, complete opposite of my mom. He lived a struggle life. He was a child of an immigrant. So he was one of the ones, in school when you're filling out the form, you're an immigrant, you have to leave at a certain time of the year to do crop sharing or whatever. That was my dad. So my dad would leave to go to Michigan and farm and pick cotton and pick potatoes and bag potatoes. My mom didn't have any of those experiences. So my dad was very street. My mom was very religious. So when they met, my dad was made a bet with his friends. Hey, I bet you can never get a date with her. I bet you can never get a date with her. And so that was his driving force with my mom. They are divorced, but they married twice. But yeah, so
Nice, nice. All it takes is a little bet from your friends to get over that, get
exactly.
that courage. You
Yep.
gotta love it. So, did you grow up in a more military house or more spiritual house?
Okay, so I can't really say I had the military experience that I was able to provide for my children through my marriage. Because my dad retired when I was like 8 years old. I do remember him going to Japan. We never did any accompanied tours. He would go by himself. And then at that point, my mom was still living with religion, so she mingled in both. She had the one, and then the one at home, and then what we presented to the world, right? But she also grew up and she wanted to be a nun, so a religious aspect was in her. So that was childhood. It was coming home, and it's like if we were disobedient or we were doing things that we shouldn't, the sage came out, the feathers came out, and we were getting cleansed. We were getting smudged. But yeah.
Growing up, did you believe all this when your mom was doing it? Or we're like, come
I
on,
didn't have
Mom.
any other, I didn't know any other way. And we did the limpias with the eggs. We did everything.
Oh, what's that?
Uh, okay, so that's more curandera. So that's more Latin folklore, I guess. So you take an egg, you set it out at room temperature, and they say that when you need that, it's because you have like the evil eye. Somebody gave you something and you have to remove it. So it's basically just like smoke and feathers go and cleanse your aura. The egg will absorb whatever is there. You crack the egg into a clear, a glass thing of water, and you read the yolk and you read the membranes. And then, you're able to tell what is what. And I do that. I love doing that. That's fun. That's part of culture.
What's the last thing you kind of did with your culture recently?
I am doing egg cleanses, but just with family. And or my family will do a self cleanse. And when I say family, I'm talking about like second generation aunt, cousin, third cousin. Like they're like, this is Hilda's daughter. She's the next generation. She's the one who's going to be here when, Hilda passes. So meet her and do this. And so they've been coming to me. But because I have evolved, I try to teach them how to be self-empowered. So I'll read their egg cleansings, but I have really rooted in my Native American culture. I kind of resurrected that back. And so the last thing I did on that scale, and I'll get that nudge, I'll get that pull from spirit, from creator, and I'll be like, okay, I have to go down to the river, which was also a pull to move here. So I just moved here last year. And I'll go to the river and I will meditate, and then I'll honor the sun and the earth and the directions, all four directions. And I will drum and I will drum and I will drum. And then from the drumming, I'll just start chanting, and then song will come out. And I
Wow.
can detach just a little bit. And my human self or my ego self is listening. It is like in awe of what's being transmitted, right? And because I'm also attuned to Reiki, when I open my eyes, because a lot of time my eyes are closed, especially this last time, when I opened my eyes, I could see yellow and orange energy orbs like coming up off the river. So when I do drum for things of that nature, I'm drumming for the land to clear any brutality, any harsh memories that have been imprinted on the earth. I'm clearing for stuck souls to be released. And I'm clearing for the natives. I'm clearing for family members. We're all one. So I'm clearing for everybody. And I do that at pretty much everywhere I go. I'm being called to do that.
Wow. So you go down to the San Marcos River,
Yes.
and what kind of drum do you use?
I have a high drum that I got from a lady in San Antonio. I think she's Lakota.
And
Mhm.
do you play I'm sorry, do you play a beat, or you just kind of sit there and you just, whatever comes to you?
So it starts off like with the drum, you want to put your energy all around it. They call it waking up the spirit of the hide, right? And then it's the heartbeat. It's the heartbeat of earth. It's our heartbeat. So it connects. So I always just start off with a slow, you know, like a kick drum over and over. And then from there, the song comes through that wants to come through, and it'll pick up on its own. And there we go.
I just recently got into sound baths and sound bowls,
Yeah.
and go to the local library once a month. They do a free one at the local library, and my wife and I do it. So, sound bowls are like $1,000, are the ones I've kind of looked into. So that's kind of out of my price range.
Let me tell you about something real quick. Sorry.
Please.
MacBid, MACBID.
Okay,
There's
let me
there's a
write that down.
okay, yeah. There's a location based in Shirts, MacBid. They have a set of crystal singing bowls, and they start their bidding at $1. I have a friend who purchased his for $80.
A
Oh,
whole
just
set?
on bidding. Yes. So I'm like, I need to jump in there. So check it out, MacBid.
MacBid, give it a shout out. Sound bowls are just so fascinating to me on so many levels. Are you under the impression that everything's light and sound and vibrations?
Yes.
And you hear some theories that we're just all of light, and it's our limitations that we put on ourselves and each other that we can't walk through that wall, but
Yes.
it's really just energy particles, and if we could get to the same frequency, we could just. Have you ever walked through a wall?
No, but
Oh, okay.
no,
I
but
was
there's a
really hoping
story
for something.
attached to that.
What's that? Oh yeah,
I
have you
said,
tried?
when I had my awakening, when I had my dark night of the soul surrender, and I woke up to the knowing of who we are, I laugh at this every single time I think about it. I remember getting up and thinking, yes, I'm restored. I'm meant to be. And I would take my hand, kind of like the show Bewitched. I don't have to clean anymore. And I was like, why is this not working? I need to fine tune myself. Why is this not working? But you know that little meme that says, even after awakening, you still have to do the laundry? That was my eye opening moment. Yeah, it's not the same.
That's kind of disappointing, honestly, because you truly believed
Yes,
that you could just uh, crinkle your nose and everything would be done, or wave your hand, and
exactly.
and they say you have to fully believe it, and that's kind of disappointing. You did fully believe
Yes.
it, and it still did not happen.
And that's part of conditioning. Like, look at the shows we're watching. Like, you have to be careful. That's another layer of conditioning.
Yeah, it's amazing too. Once you start opening yourself up to these ideas,
Hmm.
me more recently than you, obviously, there's so many movies out there that kind of touch on a lot of this stuff very
Hmm.
subtly. And I can't come up with any titles right now, but it
They're
just kind of
saying
is that I've never watched. I heard that's a
the
really good
Marvel
series.
movie. I think it's Marvel or DC. Oh my gosh, yes, that's so quantum field, so Reiki energy, everything. I see that now. Yeah,
Do you feel like movies are programming us to get ready for a big switch in our reality?
I feel like everything is. Yeah, especially movies. If you can tune into the movie, your soul remembers. It's a soul remembrance, whether you're conscious or not conscious. It's that seed. It's watering the seed behind you, getting ready to awaken.
Yeah, it just seems like a lot more entertainment stuff is just
Yeah.
getting us more ready for something.
Yes.
Everything's got a multiverse, and I don't
Hmm.
know, 10 years ago that was never even a thought.
Hmm.
Multiverse. Now almost every movie there's a multiverse, or different realities, different timelines. And it's like we're all
Hmm.
getting ready for something, or they're just easing us into being okay with what reality really is.
Yeah. Hmm.
Uh, you
Yeah.
know,
Can you imagine? I mean, they say when we incarnate in, we go through the veil of forgetting. Because can you imagine if you remembered everything? If every single human walking remembered everything, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Greg, do you know what you did to me in our seventh lifetime? Like, how could you do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to go through the veil of forgetting, and it's fun to unravel it. It's like opening a Christmas gift over and over again to discover yourself.
yeah, and I kind of liken it to like watching a movie the first time is way more enjoyable than watching it for the fifth time, because you already know what's going to happen,
Yeah.
and you already know all the twists and turns that are going to happen for you.
Uh-huh.
Um, one lady I was talking to, she's just said we're not mentally capable to understand in this 3D world what is really going on, and that's why we have to forget that we can't carry it with us. Um, do you believe in the multiverse? As far as if you made a decision to go have McDonald's or go have Wendy's for lunch, that there's an alter version of you having Wendy's if you chose McDonald's, and then that timeline plays out like that. Do you feel like that?
It's interesting. I don't know that I've thought about it that way. When I think about it, it's like there's a part of me enjoying McDonald's, which I don't anymore. I'm vegan, but there's a part of me enjoying McDonald's, and then there's a part of me enjoying a salad or growing my own, and it's just about coming together. You know?
You're
Yeah.
definitely more involved, because I had McDonald's last night. So yeah,
Yeah.
I wish a different part of me enjoyed having salads or whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah. So once you choose a major path in life, well, you
Hmm.
just chose to be with this partner. I should have stayed single. So that, there's another partner coming down the way. Then there's that reality is playing out. I kind of feel like that's, I don't, going to psychics and stuff. When you get a psychic reading, they'll read your life from that point on. And I've had some really good psychics over the years, and I've had some terrible psychics. But I just feel like they're reading you from that point on, and you still have free will for the most part, and you have planned out certain things in your life to play out. Like, I'm going to be, I don't know, married to this person and maybe have a kid or two. But there's other decisions in life that are still up in the air. That's why psychic predictions don't always 100% happen the way they say. How do you feel about that?
Great question. So I've been going to psychics, palm readers, tarot readers since I turned 16. Like my mom that was her, if you're not going to listen to me, listen to them thing, right? I was like, okay. But yes, absolutely. I remember going to the palm reader for the first time, and she was reading, the energy off my hand. And when she was telling me, I think I was 17 or 18. So she was talking to me about my future husband and that we were going to do work together. We were going to, whatever it was, we were going to work together. So of course I'm going through life because one thing she said, he was going to have colored eyes. Okay, that just means not my color, right? So every guy I met, oh, you're not the one. I'm not really paying attention. So there's like a catch-22 with that. But with my husband recently, my ex-husband, he had hazel eyes, and at this point I had already put that behind me. But he had hazel eyes, and we did do work together, and it didn't work. But that she did pan into that did happen.
I've been told over a number of times over the years. I've probably been to 15 or 16 psychics, maybe more, over the years, and a majority of them all told me I wasn't going to find my love of my life until my mid 40s. And that's what happened. I was in my late 40s or mid to late 40s and finally found the one. And my brother-in-law was like, well, you held off because people told you that's not. I'm like, sure, maybe. But I had one psychic lady tell me that I was going to be married to a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl and be in the restaurant business and have 4 kids. And that's when I was in college. And like 3 or 4 years later, I got engaged to a lady that had 4 kids in the restaurant business, blonde hair, blue eyes. And then it didn't work out. But I was like, of all the things, and the craziest one I ever had was I was on a date with a girl. I was dating a girl over in Houston, and we were just having lunch, and we're driving back to her place, and I was like, oh, let's just stop in here and have a psychic reading just to waste some time or whatever. And the lady told me, like, within the year, you're going to be married to a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl and have a baby. I'm like, this lady's Hispanic. Like my girlfriend right now is Hispanic. I don't know what you're talking. I'm like craziness. Yeah. Then literally the next day, my phone rang. It was my ex-girlfriend, blonde hair, blue eyes. Hey, I'm pregnant with your child.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was so random that we had met that psychic that if I could go back, I would go back every day to talk to this lady.
Yes.
But it was so random that we just went to her place that there's no way I could find her. And, could you give me, because I'll cut it out, but could you give me, because I have not found a really good one yet in this area. Is there a good psychic in this area?
Ooh, if you go to the Eagle's Nest, have you heard of those events? They do one, they do the first Sunday of the month, they are out of Live Oak. And then the third Sunday, they're off of Bassey Road in San Antonio. There is nothing but psychics in there. And I had walked through there with my brother, and he was sitting with a woman who, I don't know if this is anything for you or not, but she was from Haiti. She was inducted to the hoodoo thing with Haitians. And what drew my brother in is that she was using Catholic saint candles. She had all that on her table. And he is like my mother, very, very rooted in the religion. And that made him feel comfortable. So that's the outlet that he was able to walk into. And he sat down with her. And mind you, it's a psychic fair. And he was probably with her for an hour or more when normally they only do like 20 minutes or they stop at 30 minutes, right? But it just kept going and going. And she told him, she goes, I don't usually, read this way. I'm doing it because of where we're at. But if you want to do more, she goes, come to my house. I work with fire. I work with all of the elements. And I was like, wow. But that was his first, like, his gateway drug in type thing,
Wow.
right? So
Wow.
when she said the rest of it, he was like, I don't think so. So he still has some room to grow.
We went to Seguin Fall Festival yesterday, and I was like, let's support local business. Let's go
Mhm.
to the local psychic sitting there. So we did, and I kind of pushed my wife. I was like, I was like, you got to do it. You got it. She didn't want to do it, but she did it. And she talked to my wife for like 30 minutes. And
Yeah.
I was like, wow. So I'm like, oh, I'm all in. I mean, I'm all in anyways, but I was like, let me do it too. She talked to me for 5 minutes. And I was like, like, where's my 30 minutes of chat? But this is called
Yeah,
the Eagle's
exactly.
Nest.
The
And
Eagle's Nest. Mhm.
and that's just a gathering, or what is
Yeah,
Eagle?
it's just a gathering. The Eagle's Nest. So the eagle represents, the eye, right? Because eagles climb at higher altitude and they have a wide span view of everything. The Eagle's Nest is kind of because it's a psychic convention.
And it's
Um, they host it in Live Oak. It's off Pat Booker at the hotel right there. It's next to 54th Street, but it's free. You just walk in and go. And it's small. They have it in a banquet room. And I heard that the Bassey Road one is a little bit bigger, and then it's at the Buddhist temple, I believe.
and I'm sorry, how often is my wife's family lives right around the corner from there? How often do they meet?
Um, at the Bassey Road one is every third weekend. I think it's every third Saturday and Sunday. And then in Live Oak is the first weekend of the month.
Thanks for watching the show today, folks. And if you enjoyed it, please like, comment, and share. And like always, stay rad.